Welcome to the Worship Leader Toolbox podcast. My name is Dave, and I'm here with Tim. And we're looking forward to this episode of the Worship Leader Toolbox. So, we are going to talk about Christmas.
Now, there does seem to always be the debate that happens when you bring up Christmas too early. Like everybody all of a sudden decides that around Halloween or just before, they say something like, I'm listening to my Christmas music, and everybody else on Facebook jumps on them because they think you shouldn't be listening to Christmas music until Thanksgiving's over or something like that. So I don't know why that's such a big deal. I think everybody just likes to egg it on or something. It's become more popular to like Christmas music earlier for some reason. But what about you guys, your family? When do you start listening to Christmas music in your house?
Well, yesterday, as of the time of this recording, the temperature was 91 degrees. And so I prefer like maybe 80 degrees, somewhere in that range before I start listening to Christmas music.
So you base it on weather. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, I don't really think about it much during the year unless somebody else says something or you see a poster, you see something, and I think, oh man, I really like this guy's version of this song and whatever. And I start hearing that. I might even look it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really listen to it unless I'm reminded of it. But yeah, we'll start couple weeks before, maybe a month before, something like that. I think some of the drive to hit some Christmas music early is because to kind of fight off the whole Halloween thing. You know, Halloween. I just saw Halloween. See, it's August. It's September right now, but in August, I saw Halloween decorations out at a local hardware store, and I was blown away. That's
yeah. I heard that Halloween has become the second most income-driven holiday.
Wow.
Next to Christmas.
Wow.
Because of candy and costumes.
I just wanted to sing some Christmas songs right then, right there.
Well, I have a whole nother take on Halloween, but it's too long for this podcast. But well, anyway, I think we listened to it for sure by the time we set up our tree, which is usually the weekend after Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And we do that for a number of reasons. I'm not exactly sure. Just basically schedule in December. That's like the last free weekend before it kind of goes haywire because in church ministry, December is a holiday month kind of. And it is for everybody probably in a lot of ways. But anyway, one of the few traditions I remember happening in our family was that we actually determined our first year of being married that we were going to start a tradition of having homemade pizza when we set up the tree.
Oh.
And so every year since the very first Christmas that we were together, we have made homemade pizza and set up the tree. Mm-hmm. And the oddity is we've actually played the same CD every year too.
Wow.
And it's a Vineyard Worship CD.
Wow.
And it's Christmas songs. Mm-hmm. And so it mixed in with a bunch of other stuff. I don't know what we'll do this year because we actually don't have a CD player anymore in the house. We used to have one, but we'll have to figure out how to get that one out there. But we just sit and listen to Christmas music while we do that. So that makes sense to me. And outside of that, I don't really turn on Christmas music much before Thanksgiving's over. I'm kind of like in the traditional camp.
Yeah,
I guess. And I have no idea why the debate has gotten so wound up, but people talk about, I got Christmas music on and they get all excited and it's just kind of strange. So
yeah, some people get all excited and some people have other emotions. Well, everyone seems to have a friend who listens to Christmas music early or maybe all year. And we'd love to hear from you. Head over to the Worship Leader Toolbox group and let us know when you begin listening to Christmas music. Now, you can say 5 weeks from now, hey, I'm listening to Christmas music. Or you can just tell us right now, I've been listening to it for a month.
Oh, yeah. A little Christmas music check-in. That sounds pretty fun. That's what we should try to get going.
There you go.
But all seriousness, there is something to Christmas planning because if you are serving in worship ministry, you have to have your ducks in a row early. You can't just decide after Thanksgiving, hey, we're going to try this song and that song. It's, the ship has sailed by then. You have to know what you're doing earlier. If you're going to do anything creative, unusual, new, you can always pull out Hark the Herald Angels Sing and sing it. But if you're going to do something a little bit different, then you really have to plan ahead. And so worship teams probably get tired of Christmas music before the season even arrives. But for this episode, we're actually not going to talk about the music side. I was just thinking it might be good to share some of these ideas that could just be fun to implement in your worship team because it is a Christmas season and people are maybe a little more receptive to some different and unique and some of these maybe creative things. And so I was just going to have us go through this list of some things we came up with that might just spark your creativity to do something unique with your worship ministry team this Christmas season.
Ukuleles.
That would be a hit.
I'm going to push for that. I'll let you know. That sounds good, and the planning is key for these things. Christmas gets busy for worship leaders, and especially this year, Christmas is on a Monday, which means a really full Sunday and Christmas Eve. But
yeah, that's gonna be weird.
Yeah,
because you basically, if you do your normal Sunday morning, then you got your Sunday morning services.
Yeah,
and then you turn around and have your Christmas Eve services.
Yep.
So in our case here, that means 2 Sunday morning services and 4 Christmas Eve services. Ooh. All in the same day, just like all the way through. So it's going to be a lot of logistics and planning.
Well, and a lot of people go out of town for Christmas Eve, at least, to go visit relatives, maybe Christmas Day, but kind of split things up.
Well, there's definitely a lot of travel. But over the years, it's for whatever reason in this community, and you have to go with your community and your people. Mm-hmm. But over the years, that's been, our usual church size is around 500 people attending. Mm-hmm. But Christmas Eve is always 1,000.
Oh,
so it's unreal. Mm-hmm. People just are really drawn to that, and that's one of the high points, possibilities of reaching people is during Christmas because people are more receptive.
Well, with that many people in your auditorium, you really do need to play ukuleles to smaller instruments and things.
There's not enough room for guitars. We'll play ukuleles.
No. Well, here are some fun ideas for celebrating the season with your worship teams. Number 1, solos.
Yeah, and I hope these ideas kind of jog people's minds. But one of the things that happens in modern worship ministry is there's a lot of people that lead songs, but there's not as often just the traditional solo.
Like, I don't see that hardly.
Yeah, it's like somebody comes out and plays a guitar with one person singing, or somebody comes and just plays a piano with one person singing. And for whatever reason, if that's not a norm for your church, it might be a good time to invite somebody to come and do that. And some people, for whatever reason, aren't comfortable, cranking out 4 or 5 songs for the weekend and practicing one time and then doing it at home on their own and then showing up and making it happen. They might have come from a background where you practice for 4 or 5 weeks as a choir and then sing one song. Like, it's the opposite. I've always thought that was funny. The choirs work on one song for 5 weeks and we work on 5 songs for 1 week.
Well, that's how jazz music works. Rock music, you play 3 chords for 1,000 people, and jazz music, you play 1,000 chords for 3 people.
I've never heard that. That's really good. Well, anyway, I guess we've said enough about solos. You can kind of envision that, but especially if there's somebody you can include from your church, maybe somebody from, that's not typically on the worship team, that you just invite them. They've got a great voice, but they can't commit on a regular basis. And you can really have a power hitting moment to finish a message or something during Christmas season and just have, the light on a person with a microphone and a piano and sing some meaningful Christmas song that really it's such a different texture than the typical that it really could be cool.
Yeah, especially if you have a young person that wants to do a solo.
Ooh, yeah, definitely.
That's powerful.
Yep. Young or old. I mean, like, there is the feeling of, any extreme, because there is the feeling of like, Oh Holy Night. Like, everybody remembers kind of that song being sung by a certain voice. And if you can get that voice going, then that adds like some nostalgia to Christmas and just some interest in the worship flow.
Mm-hmm. Number 2, open house.
This is an idea that we did for years, where we had an open house actually at our home. And instead of just a Christmas party that you have to have all the plans of this game, that game, this food, that food, we just literally had food out and invited people to come between 6 and 10 or whatever the time slot was. And for whatever reason, that kind of really took there's something about being in people's homes that really helps connect people. Like, I've had conversations before with people where they've been at our house only maybe one time, but they will mention that. I mean, it's like they feel like they're part of our lives because they saw like another side of us or something. And so because the worship team grew, it was a little more difficult to do that type of open house. So we've had to like change it to more of a Christmas party open house at our actual church building. And that works just as well. But if you have the opportunity, that's a creative idea at Christmas, is to invite over some people and pick a date early and and then have people there. And maybe you could break it down. Like if you have enough bandwidth in your life, if you don't have crazy schedule or a bunch of kids to drive here and there and do things for the whole Christmas season, you could have just the instrumentalist over for an open house, and then the vocalist, and then the sound people. Or, there's a lot of ways to do it. But the idea of an open house has always been pretty cool. I've always enjoyed it.
There was a thing when I was younger, and I don't remember what they called it, but there would be maybe 5 or 10 people having open house type of things all in the same evening, and you would just go from one house to the other. Did you ever do one of those?
Well, that sounds cool too. The one that the only thing I can think of when you say that is the progressive dinners.
That's what it's called.
Yeah. It's like you'd go have dessert some house, or not, you wouldn't have dessert, but you'd end with dessert somewhere. But you'd have like an appetizer and then salad and then a main dish and then dessert. Different houses each time.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But what you just said is cool too. I mean, it doesn't have to be the worship leader or the hired person or the main person. Anybody could have an open house. Like, so maybe you could have like a couple different open houses for different people in your organization. That
brings in the hospitality gifting people that are often overlooked in ministry. That would absolutely, they would really like that.
That's true. That'd be awesome.
Number 3, Christmas Carol. I love this. Going to nursing homes or people's houses or whatever.
Oh yeah, I mean that's basically exactly what it is. I know that's still a thing for churches. People like to set up Christmas caroling. It seems like that kind of thing, but it can lessen the music barrier. You could take a lot of people caroling and nobody really cares what it sounds like.
That's right.
One person on guitar or whatever.
They're just glad you're there.
Yeah. So you can make. So when you say, do you love that? Do you Christmas carol a lot at Christmas time?
Through the years, I've had different seasons of where I did it a bunch or I didn't do it a whole lot, but I always like the idea and I try to get involved. Some of the churches I've been to would actually practice, like, hey, let's do these 4-part harmonies and go over to Sister Susie's house and, wherever. Another one's just say, hey, show up.
Yeah.
And here's the papers.
Yeah, because when you're caroling, you only need like 3 songs.
Right.
Just pick the 3 main ones: Joy to the World, Hark the Herald, and Silent Night. I mean, just stand there a few minutes. And if there is a way to end it with the high-powered kind of, home that knows you're coming and has cookies and hot chocolate, that's like really dynamite. But
and you know what goes good with a Christmas carol, because you're traveling and getting out of cars and all that kind of stuff? Ukulele.
You're determined to work the ukulele.
I am. This is going to be a ukulele Christmas. I tell you what.
Wow, that sounds like a song.
It does.
It's a ukulele Christmas.
Well, number 4 is Ugly Sweater Day, and this is very theologically sound. We're supposed to make fun of each other, and
well, I guess
where did this come from?
You could pull theology out of here if you had to, in terms of coming as you are, but it really didn't come from me. It was actually somebody in our group that said, hey, it'd be fun. We should all do ugly Christmas sweaters one of the Sundays that we're leading.
Yeah.
And part of the reason it was fun is because we actually put it out beforehand and said, hey, don't worry, it's not really our style. We're doing it for you. And to the church, social media and whatnot, we just said, this week is ugly Christmas sweater for the worship team. So come and be prepared.
I love it. I just don't understand where the tradition came from.
Well, it really wasn't a tradition because we only did it once. But
I mean, like the rest of the world doing it.
Oh, the whole thing. Right. Why did it become that?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it had to start somewhere with gifts, like kind of like ties on Father's Day. It's like the sweater at Christmas, and doesn't really appeal to it. But I mean, it is funny that it's grown. It's come reverse. Like now that's your goal. So to wear the worst, craziest sweater.
Me and Leanne and the kids, our Christmas morning was homemade Christmas sweater. We incorporated that into there. And so the day before we got, just random sweaters from Goodwill or something like that, random ribbons and bows and whatever. And you were supposed to make yours secretly so nobody knew what it was. And on Christmas morning, we all came out in our ugly sweaters to do presents.
Oh, wow. That's a good tradition too. That's hilarious. Well, one thing I remember about that ugly Christmas sweater day was that people were borrowing sweaters from other people because some people didn't have them.
Yeah.
And I had to borrow one because I really don't wear sweaters and I don't really care about ugly Christmas sweaters, but for whatever reason, it kind of, just that one little tiny thing, just say, wear an ugly Christmas sweater on this day, kind of helps spark some community among the worship team and the whole church and the worship team. It's like, everybody's real.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost you money.
Yeah. just a little bit of silliness here and there can break up the monotony and to bring people together.
We did it once with orange T-shirts on when it was about 3 or 4 years ago. Halloween was on a Sunday, and so we went and bought 6 orange T-shirts, and we spelled Jesus, Jesus, on each shirt, and then we did an exclamation point on the 6th person.
Nice.
And then we just led worship. And some people never caught on that there were words on our shirt. We had to all kind of stand together for people to catch on. But it's pretty funny. But anyway, just those little things every once in a while. One time we did a Christian T-shirt day, and everybody had they went and bought shirts basically off of online that stick with Jesus and created to worship and I can't remember all the different puns that they had for drummers and
I saw one yesterday,
basses and guitars
that says the longer the beard, the deeper the theology. I almost got it.
That's a good one. That's funny.
Number 5, group gift.
Yeah, we're on 5 of 7 here. The group gift is just a little idea of kind of stocking your worship team for anything they might need. My brothers had a great one. He showed me a picture of their worship cab, I think they call it. And it's just a cabinet full of all kinds of things you wouldn't think of, like breath mints and deodorant and just every little capos and guitar picks, just little things that people might just need. Snacks, bottled water, cough drops, gum, just all that. And I just think that's a neat idea. This is kind of along the lines of, instead of getting everybody a gift in your ministry, depending on the size of your group and whatnot, one year I just bought a big basket of stuff, invested the money I would normally have gotten everybody a cup of coffee gift card type thing from Starbucks. I just took that $150 and just bought all kinds of stuff, snacks and Belvita bars and just things.
Oh, nice.
Put it in a basket, stuck it backstage, and that was kind of the Christmas gift to everybody.
Nice.
And so it didn't cost a whole ton, and it worked out neat. And a lot of that stuff just kind of slowly eked away over the year. I mean, like extra picks and quarter-inch cable here and there, whatever people might need.
$150 would buy a nice ukulele. Number 6, take a break.
This we could probably talk about in different ways. But one thing that I always think is a gift to the group is to do something different the last Sunday of December. And for this year, it's going to be kind of strange because it's it'd be New Year's Eve morning, which isn't as crazy as New Year's Day. That's harder to get people going. But somehow, hitting the break a little bit after the Christmas season and doing something totally different and special for the last Sunday of the year. And just kind of giving people a little opportunity just to be in worship and not, be on board. I know it's hard for tech people and all that, but there's ways to balance out so that you can give your team, stop hitting the gas pedal after the intensity of Christmas Sundays and special events and all that. And so we've often tried to do something unique on the Sunday after Christmas. And sometimes it's just as simple as just acoustic guitar, just the worship leader person instead of everybody, and just make it as simple as possible. But there's probably a lot of other ways to do that too. Some sort of, a January guest artist or something that just changes the flow. People can just take a break.
Number 7, serve together.
And this last of the 7 ideas was just another thought about, serving a meal or taking a collection or buying gifts for people. Like as a worship team, build some community together by doing something Christmas season-y that you could do together without overwhelming people's schedules, but some way to serve together outside of leading music. And yeah, again, I hope that just kind of jogs your memory, thinking about different ways that you could, be involved in that. Different things you could do this Christmas season outside of just the good music.
Yeah, Meals on Wheels. Definitely visiting some people together. It's nice to, I don't know, I'm on a nursing home kick, but when you visit somebody by yourself, they love it. It's all good. When you have a group of people, they feel extra special that these many people came to see them in a nursing home. That'd be a good thing to do.
A Christmas Carol kind of accomplishes that too.
Well, that's true.
Because you're there. And some people say they only get visitors at Christmas. And so that's like an argument to kind of say, oh, well, we got to find some other times during the year.
Yeah.
And maybe even this serve together one could be that type of thing. Like, Christmas time is when you get around Thanksgiving, Christmas, everybody's favorite phrase is, well, in the new year, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And you can capitalize on that by saying, okay, well, actually, January 9th, we're all going to go here and do this.
There you go.
And sometimes just having that little, marker that's a little bit farther out, everybody's got a breather from Christmas. They can actually look at it and say, that's good. It's not right now. And yeah, sure, I'll be a part of that. And so they sign up to go to this or that. One time we took our whole team to paint a children's home in Mount Vernon.
Oh, wow.
And we just got them all down there. Everybody drove their own car, took some supplies, and we did a whole project. And it was totally unrelated to worship, except we were together. And so,
well, I was going to ask you, I've never seen a worship team serve together like this number 7 before. Have you done that besides what you just mentioned?
well, yeah, I mean, it's probably not as common as like, a women's group getting together to provide a meal for a funeral or, all the things we typically think about in church, because the worship team is kind of heavy intensive using their gifts on a weekly basis to prepare and volunteer and be set up for Sunday mornings that come around every 7 days. So you have to really intentionally do that. But the places that it really does help is that most often when you're with your worship team, you're on the clock. Like, you have to have this done. There's a deadline. And the thing that serving does is it kind of like takes you off the clock a little bit and gives you time just to like be together.
Nice.
And so serving is like the little vehicle to doing that. Because a lot of times it does work just to say, hey, let's get together. But a lot of times people, just in the way the culture is, they don't prioritize getting together without a objective. And one or two people you can, but you can't just get together 30 people and just sit and look at each other and just, talk.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to pair off or talk, individually. So you need a framework. And some of those are parties. Sometimes those are get-togethers. Sometimes those are planning meetings. But then the serving aspect is what kind of unites you with like memories and feeling good about something you've been able to do. Nobody asked you to do it.
Yeah, I think we should start a trend. I don't know. Yeah, you would have to work that logistically out in your week, but man, once a month going and changing somebody's light switches or mowing the grass or something like that as a team, I think that would speak a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean, it'd be great. And there's a lot of people in church. That's what the church does.
Yeah.
And then the worship team kind of has their own little niche, and it's sometimes it's just hard to make that happen. But one thing I've learned is, and I think we've said this before because I remember I have deja vu right now, but one thing, at least it's my style, maybe not I've learned, my style is never to get people in a regular commitment groove. And the church has a really good habit, or a deep habit, maybe not good, of if something works well, they put it into the rhythm ongoing forever. And that's what institutionalizes things and sometimes kind of becomes a bear. Sometimes you're hiring people at a church to maintenance mode an institutional item that isn't even answering a question anymore because we've already done it. And so, so like if you want your group to serve, I necessarily wouldn't start with, this is the first Tuesday of the month, so we got to go serve somewhere, because that puts the burden on the institution as opposed to the opportunity. So and all this sprung because you said once a month, go do something. I would be all for a group serving once a month in some capacity, volunteering in some way, maybe even just in other ways in the church besides worship or prayer night or anything. And we do that here. We have a prayer night. And I mean, I'm all for that, but I would probably, in my own personality, would lean toward, hey, we're going to do it September 6th. And then September 6th, say, hey, we're going to do this again on October 13th. And hey, we're going to do this again in November, as opposed to, we're going to do this every first Wednesday the rest of our lives.
Oh, man.
And for whatever reason, I think that kind of like institutionalizes things and makes it harder for people to commit. But anyway, all those are good. And all those ideas. And this list again basically is bringing somebody up for a solo just for something different, having some kind of open house or Christmas party, Christmas caroling, ugly sweater day just for community and fun, a group gift for your whole team set in the back, take a break after Christmas, plan that now, and serving together. All those things are things that hopefully you can take one and use it.
Great stuff. And we might try to do a couple of these things. Also, speaking of Christmas music, Tim, you've got some guitar stuff.
Yeah, actually, the guitar Christmas music I have is from, it's just instrumental guitar that my cousin, Justin actually married my cousin I guess our cousin, Abby. But I always like to call Justin my cousin because he can do so much neat things. So, but he recorded me several years back just playing Christmas music on the guitar. So it's just acoustic guitar, and you can find it. I need to put it on an easier website to find, but it's called Tim Price Acoustic Christmas, and you can look it up on Spotify or YouTube or Amazon or wherever you listen, Apple. And Tim Price Acoustic Christmas. And since it's just instrumental, you can use it for whatever you have going on, like playing before church or in whatever way. So everybody can take a listen. We'll try to put that in the show notes so people can find it easier.
And tell us if you listen to it.
Yeah. Let us know
and
if
when
you listen to it. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, see you all next time.
See you later.